Jimmy, look, it's Spider-Man! He's fighting Doc Ock! He's battling for New York! He is our hero! Oh my god! Hello, Spider-Man fans! It is a wonderful day in the neighborhood here when we get to talk some more about Spider-Man 3. My name is Chris, and what we're going to be doing here today is addressing how everything that Marvel just announced at the recent event that absolutely blew it out of the water with everything they talked about here. And even though they directly did not give us any Spider-Man 3 updates like a title or casting confirmation of Andrew and Tobey Maguire or anything like that, everything that the Marvel Universe is building makes it pretty obvious what's going to be going down in Spider-Man 3, and there are some big changes. But I'm going to need your guys' opinions down below on everything we discuss here today. What do you think out of everything that Marvel has now announced? How will all that affect Spider-Man 3 in your opinion here, especially that Fantastic Four news, because the director of the Spider-Man movies is moving over from Sony to the MCU. But also, don't be forgetting to hit that like button, man, because now it is only a matter of days before Sony decides, alright, all that Disney stuff settled down. You ready, internet? But yes, if you guys were curious and wanted my thoughts on everything that went down in the Disney panels, I did two separate videos. One where I talked about everything in the Marvel panel, showing you the trailers, breaking them down, giving my reaction, and a separate video on all the non-Disney related stuff like the solo Buzz Lightyear movie I'm thrilled about, our first look at Pinocchio, and the new Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie. That'll be linked in the description or the pinned comment. Alright, so yes, but continuing on here, it was expected that they weren't really going to drop any huge Spider-Man 3 news at this Disney event, well, because Spider-Man is still owned by Sony, and this whole meeting is about giving their investors something to look forward to buy stock in Disney. They're not going to go ahead and promote, oh yeah, and Sony's also kicking butt, so maybe buy stock in them. That just ain't the way the companies work. But a couple of things here that did really catch my eye and made me go, oh, so that's what they're going to be doing with the future of Marvel, and Spider-Man is in for some great stuff right here. First big thing we got to talk about here is Jon Watts, the director of Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Spider-Man 3, still untitled, is going to be directing the Fantastic Four movie for the MCU. We finally have the confirmation of the Fantastic Four movie in the works, and even with this amazing, exciting news, there was still tons of people online so disappointed with the director they chose. Admittedly, I can understand wanting to have some fresh blood, someone new. There's plenty of great directors out there that are not part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but my reasoning and logistics for this is because the entire time Jon Watts, the director, has not been a Disney or MCU employee. His paychecks are signed by Sony, and he takes orders from Sony Pictures. He just only occasionally talks to Kevin Feige, takes notes from him, listens to his advice on what to do with Spider-Man, but at the end of the day, it is Sony's final decision because it is their money on the line making these Spider-Man movies and not really Disney at all. So honestly, Kevin Feige grabbing Jon Watts and going, you're not a Sony employee anymore, you in the house of mouse, should be a really great sign, because a lot of the stuff that fans don't like about the recent Spider-Man movies is kind of all having to do with Sony. I mean, like, one thing in particular, Spider-Man fans are not thrilled that every Spider-Man movie has to bring to us a new mentor that Peter has to be with. In the first one, we got Iron Man, then we got Nick Fury, and now we're getting Doctor Strange. Well, that's not Disney's fault. That is all Sony. When they signed the deal and the contract for Sony and Disney to make Spider-Man movies together, they put a clause in the contract that, fine, we'll do this, but every movie, you need to put an MCU character in there to kind of help us out with our box office and get people excited. So every time we have a Spider-Man movie, that's why they bring in a new MCU character and a mentor, because Sony demands that. Jon Watts now is going to have the full collaboration process with Kevin Feige and the MCU, and this should also let you know Spider-Man 3 is looking to be pretty amazing if they're wanting to bring him over to the Fantastic Four. They're not going to give him the Marvel's first family if they think Spider-Man 3 or these other Spider-Man films were trash. But aside from that, in the actual context of the movie, this also kind of reveals some stuff right here. One, we know Spider-Man 3 is already jam-packed, but I fully believe now to get a Fantastic Four Easter egg somewhere in Spider-Man 3, okay? It would be a huge missed opportunity if they did not do some sort of Fantastic Four Easter egg. Heck, I think the number one thing they're gonna do is finally finish the arc that all of us have been wondering, who bought that building in Spider-Man Homecoming that we saw being built in Spider-Man Far From Home, that was finished being built by the end of that movie, and now in Spider-Man 3, I'm thinking that is the Baxter building, okay? With Jon Watts as the director and the creative control of that, That's the Baxter building, okay? That is the Fantastic Four headquarters right there, and that is most likely the little Easter egg that we'll get. I highly doubt we'll actually be seeing the Fantastic Four pop up in the end credits or somewhere along the movie, because it is already too jam-packed with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, their girlfriends, and now even rumors of Daredevil. But if it happens, it makes sense, man. Spider-Man's first comic book run dealt with him in the Fantastic Four teaming up, and Spider-Man in the comics is a huge fan of the Human Torch. It's going to be really interesting if those roles are reversed now, and whoever the Human Torch is in the Fantastic Four is a big fan of Spider-Man. Other small hints of how this is affecting Spider-Man 3 is Kevin Feige did at least say the word Spider-Man and let us know that Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness will be directly affected from the events of Spider-Man 3. And it's like, that movie is literally called Multiverse of Madness. This is the worst kept secret right now, okay? We is getting the Spider-Verse and that multiverse. It's kind of obvious that something like this were to happen, especially since Doctor Strange is part of Spider-Man 3. He's going to be helping Spider-Man along his journey here, but whatever happens at the end of Spider-Man 3, Doctor Strange is put in a position that he has to deal with the aftermath, and that'll encompass his entire second movie where he's going to be jumping multiverse to multiverse. Now, my best guess on that is Spider-Man 3 does somehow bring in all the Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and then when that's all over and settled with, Doctor Strange has to be the one to put these guys back in their own universe, and maybe we're finally going to be seeing what Sam Raimi's Spider-Man world looks like right now, what Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man world looks like. I mean, why else would they hire Sam Raimi to be the director of Doctor Strange 2 if he wasn't going to get a hand to finally complete his little Spider-Man 4 universe? The other thing that Marvel is obviously building towards that is no secret at all is that they're trying to start up this whole Young Avengers movie, which is essentially like the Teen Titans but for the Avengers, where you have a lot of these young adults or teenage versions of the superheroes that we know to be. They already basically have a full team ready, because some of the new younger heroes they confirmed that could be part of this Young Avenger are Haley Steinfeld as Kate Bishop. You have Miss Marvel, who's confirmed now to show up in Captain Marvel 2, crossing over from Disney Plus series to the movies. They went ahead and did my girl dirty, Cassie Lang from Endgame, and they replaced her with Catherine Newton, who obviously only got replaced because she is going to take up the mantle of Ant-Man. They announced the Ironheart series, which is the teenage female Iron Man. That'll be the one to take over as Iron Man. The WandaVision show is set to show off the kid twins of Wanda and Vision. So obviously, if they're doing this and popping up all these teenage characters, the most popular teenage character we have right now that is a young Avenger is Spider-Man. In the final deals of Sony and Marvel right now, they have it in negotiations that Spider-Man can show up in one more solo movie and another team-up movie. It doesn't look like they're gonna do a whole Avengers film anytime soon. It'll probably be a while before that, but the next team-up film, I would assume, is this Young Avengers thing that they're building up towards. And honestly, if you're bringing in all the teenagers and young kids in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you have to bring in Peter Parker's Spider-Man. Heck, he could even be the leader. Who knows if he would want to take up that position, but the man has already been through so much, and he's the most experienced young Avenger so far. So seeing Marvel announce all these new shows and characters really lets me know that Spider-Man is being built up to be part of a separate Avenger team filled with these young kids. It does sound kind of odd right now, but maybe it sounds kind of odd in the same way when we first heard about Guardians of the Galaxy and we thought there's no way that could work, because honestly, when I look at the lineup of Young Avengers in the comics and whatnot, it doesn't interest me to go check that stuff out. But if anybody in Marvel can make us fall in love with these characters, and I would love to see a teenage Avengers go out and kick some butt and also mess up along the way. All that's left now is for Sony to come out and give us a title, confirm a few casting choices, heck, give us a plot or even a little teaser. It should be coming in the next couple of weeks before the end of December. At least that's what they promised us here. But with the Marvel announcement and the way the MCU is headed with their next couple of phases, this is how I think it all affects Spider-Man 3. But I want to hear from you guys down below. How do you think Spider-Man 3 is affected by everything that was just announced with the director of the Spider-Man movies now going to the Fantastic Four, all these younger Avengers popping up here? Do you think Peter Parker will be part of them? Anything and everything, you guys go ahead and leave your thoughts down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at 3C Film Review. As always, I'm Chris. Take care.